are meeting for the first time since May, and meeting for one very important and formal purpose, which is to announce our new chair. Administrator Lisa Jackson is succeeding me as chair of the Executive Council. And we're going to say a word about that in a second, and obviously our main event is to hear from Administrator Jackson. We are making a transition in leadership in the Executive Council as I complete my term as Governor of Virginia, but also a transition in some of the work that we're now doing in the Chesapeake Bay. The transition marked, I think, most notably by the EPA really stepping up the role that they are playing to work with states and communities in the watershed to really tackle issues of bay cleanliness. We've made some important decisions and put in some new frameworks in place in the work in the last year, and we're here to celebrate those, but we're also here to state very, very plainly that the work isn't done. Tough decisions have been made, but many more tough decisions have to be made, and many more creative instances of cooperation have to be forged between the EPA, the states, and the communities in the watershed. The EPA's activity in the last year of really taking on the Chesapeake Bay mantle, which they have had for many years, and saying we want to give it a much higher profile, is something that all of us in the watershed appreciate and applaud. Just a word about Virginia, things that I feel good about departing as the governor. During my 4 years as governor, I've worked together with the General Assembly, Delegate Cosgrove, and others in his body in the state Senate to put over $1 billion into wastewater treatment plant upgrades, and we've really now started to be significant investors in best management practices for agriculture, $57 million in non-point source BMPs in the last 4 years. We developed in 2007 a Chesapeake Bay and Virginia waters cleanup plan that really, for the first time in a really comprehensive way, tackled both point and non-source planning issues, non-point source pollution, both in the ag sector and in the development sector, and we're working very significantly on that. In December 2007, we were able to announce that Virginia would meet our Chesapeake 2000 goals for wastewater treatment plant improvements, which was a big step for us. Virginia had frankly been a laggard in some of those efforts in the past, but now on the point source side, with the over $1 billion of investments, we're going to meet our goals. We passed a $250 million Bay Bond initiative in 2007, and we've worked very closely with the EPA on the two fundamental issues of this year, which is trying to switch our milestone setting process from a way out in the distant future to a set of 2-year milestones that really keeps some pressure on us. We work very closely on that, and we also work very closely with Administrator Jackson in the White House in the drafting and the discussion surrounding the presidential executive order. We finally just completed a 4-year effort to update Virginia's stormwater management regulations and work very closely with the EPA on that. And obviously there's much more work to be done on stormwater, but we are tackling this for the first time in 20 years and trying to get with the program to deal with the consequences of development. The EPA has created, in terms of the work going forward, the TMDL requirements and protocol as part of their amplified strategies for enforcement and compliance of the pollution laws throughout the watershed. The 2-year milestones I discussed earlier will require action and accountability of the partner states, and there is this very complex and sensitive relationship between the EPA and the states where we're partners. We cooperate, but we also understand that EPA has an enforcement role, and if they don't find that things are moving sufficiently, then that is a role that the EPA has that we understand as well. Our first milestone, just to use Virginia as an example, is December 31, 2011. And the milestone with respect to nitrogen is to accelerate our progress in reducing nitrogen by 77%, an additional 15.8 million pound reduction in that primary pollutant from Virginia waters. And similarly, we'll accelerate progress in reduction of phosphorus pollution by nearly 79%, a reduction of another 1.1 million pounds. And this is what we need to do over the next 2 years, and other jurisdictions in the watershed will be facing similar challenges. I do want to conclude before I introduce Governor O'Malley, who will speak next, just by saying that in the year that I've had now to work with the EPA administrator, she obviously has a spectacular background, but her particular passion for issues surrounding the Chesapeake Bay has been very refreshing. And I see it as a passion kind of animated by two motivations. First, the bay in and of itself is such a wonderful resource, and the administrator recognizes that and really wants to make sure that the resource, which has been, you know, this great gift to all in the watershed, is improved significantly during her tenure. But I also think her focus on the bay is motivated by a second factor, which is if we do this work right with respect to the Chesapeake Bay, we can use it as an example. We can use it as a model. There are other watersheds. They're different. They have different challenges, but there are many similarities. And by an intense focus on the bay and work on the bay, we can come up with new strategies and new creative ideas that we can use in cleaning up other watersheds in the nation. I'm glad that we're going to be the example. That's good news for the citizens of the Chesapeake Bay watershed. And we have a good leader in EPA Administrator Jackson to help us in this new partnership.